Mikael Hansson, Enteractive CEO. You have unparalleled insights of player movements to and from companies. So I want to ask you, first of all, why do players leave an operator?
Well, what we always believed and why we originally started this company was because we believed that in a world where, especially when it comes to online, you don't get that natural connection to the player, right? Or to the customer. I mean, if you buy a car or whatever, you actually walk in, at least old school. Now everyone's ordering things online, but it used to be that you walk into somewhere and you buy something from a person. But when it comes to online, it's obviously not the person you're buying from. You go to a website and with online gaming, you log in, you create your login, and you can become a customer in no time, and there's no actual personal interaction. And that's what we believed over. Well, it's actually 11 years ago now when we started this, that there is something here. We didn't have any numbers to support it. We didn't have any advanced formulas, NPV or whatever, to say that it's even profitable to reach out to customers or players. But it was just a feeling that there has to be something here. And we wanted to do it. We believed in it, and we made it work. And as a fun thing before, because I knew that we're going to do this together with you, I actually had my guys set up a small survey just to ask the customers. So we end of last week we asked a lot of customers, like several thousand of customers, how they saw this specific thing, why they leave an operator. And actually almost 50% said that, well, we leave because there's no big difference. I mean, if I get the bonus here or there, there's no difference to me. And they don't feel that they're letting someone down by leaving because there's no personal relationship. So I think that is kind of closed a bit the circle for us, that we've been working on this for 10 years, and we always had this belief. Obviously, our numbers has shown us that people are staying. When people come back after a personal call, they actually do tend to stay as well. But now we also made this little survey, and it confirmed what we always believed and what we've seen in the numbers, that people actually like to have a personal relationship.
Yeah, the creating the loyalty towards the customers is the key, right? So would you say, Mikael, that like the only way to create this loyalty is kind of through this personal connection, or to get that call from once in a while? And also, how many players do actually want to be called up by a physical person?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that if we first of all look at loyalty, I think that at the end of the day, we have the hygienic factors. You're not going to be loyal even if you get the VIP treatment, you get several calls a week, and you have an amazing, attention towards you as a customer. If your product isn't there, and if you offer bad value in terms of sports book or whatever, it doesn't matter how great you are. So I think you need to have your hygienic factors in place. You need to have a nice product. You need to have all those things in place first and foremost. But then to create that extra loyalty, definitely a personal relationship goes a long way, obviously.
Mm-hmm. I remember back in the day, Mikael, like I used to work for Betsson a long time ago, and this was like about 8 years ago or so. And at that time, the Betsson had an in-house, an outbound call team that were reactivating players. And I remember Enteractive coming in at that time, actually, just to work in parallel.
I remember that too.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, yeah. And I just remember that internally, that Enteractive coming in as consultants just absolutely smashed the inbound call team. Basically, their targets and everything like this was completely smashed by Enteractive. Like, why is it that you guys managed to do so much better than kind of the in-house team at Betsson at that time?
I believe, honestly, it's two things. I think it's focus. I mean, if you only do one thing, we only get measured on how good we are at getting customers back and making such a good impression on that customer that he actually stays and he stays long term. That's one thing. And I believe that in that team, they were lovely people, but they had other things as well that they needed to do. They were, I remember that they could come in and let's do this call now. It could be a call on 17th of May to the Norwegians because it's their national holiday or national day. I mean, So. And we didn't do that. We had the focus on constantly improving what we're doing, constantly doing the same thing, but better and better and better. And another thing, which I think the absolute most important thing, and I wouldn't say it was skills back then so much because we were only 2 years in then or 3 years. So we were not, I mean, if you compare us now towards then, an agent now, mid agent would beat the best agent then by double or even triple, probably. That's the evolution. We had a guy doing 672 deposits last month. And the first year we did 390 deposits in the whole company.
The first year.
The evolution is enormous. But what at the end of the day, what was most important, apart for the focus and the fact that we obviously were doing this every day, was that they also outbound calling or talking to players is not maybe seen as the coolest thing. Let's be honest about it. So people came in to the organization, they tried it out. And then if they were good, ironically, then they were promoted to doing cooler things like, marketing or so. So I think the whole thing with us only doing this, focusing on this is where if you're a good salesperson here, if you get many customers to come back and stay loyal, you're a king here. You're like, you can't go higher. Well, obviously you can kick me out maybe if you manage, but there's no cool. Well, obviously we have marketing as well, but you see in a big organization and a big operator, there is so many different tasks you can do. So I think that was also one of the main things. But obviously, I think the focus is the most important thing.
I mean, from a psychology point of view, like the guy who reactivates 672 players, he has obviously figured out a way how to optimize his calls to make his customers feel safe and secure with him and so forth. And then you have another salesperson who do the same amount of calls but who doesn't reactivate nearly as many players. Like, what is the psychology behind this? Like, why is this person so much better than someone else? Like, how can it have such a big? What is it in his calls that makes him so much better than anyone else?
I think at the end of the day, he's clear, and I think something that sounds easy. He's clear and direct, but to learn to do that, to be honest and direct with the customer, and to give them a sense that he knows what he's doing. He's having an honest discussion with the customer. It might sound easy, but it's not easy. And also his confidence. Also, I mean, he's probably has reactivated 3,000 or 4,000 customers over the years. He's been with us for over 3 years. So obviously he's amazing. But our training processes now are so advanced that we can take in an agent, we can train him and give him that confidence within 2 or 3 weeks to actually deliver 200 deposits a month, whereas 200 5 years ago would be the record, for anyone. So
but it must be a personality thing in combination with that, right?
He's extremely focused. People, after he made this 672, I mean, honestly, he's been winning all the whole year, probably every month so far this year. People actually asked him, and this is a joke, obviously, but it's also they actually want to understand as well what he's eating for breakfast, But then again, he's eating the same thing as we for breakfast because we cook the breakfast for everyone. I think at the end of the day, it's about getting up every day and doing your best and just becoming better and better and better. And obviously, he has learned our systems. I can tell you one thing. This guy is the person who probably developed our reactivation cloud software the most out of all agents we have, because he always comes up with new things, improvements. It's like, what if we could do like this and this and this? What if the dialer would do this, and then I would automatically have this stored and I can send it out, and it would be make the customer experience better. What do you think about that? And we're like, that's good. Let's take it straight to tech. They add it in the next release. 1 or 2 weeks later, we have it. So it's like, this is a person who not only drives the sales, he also drives the development of our own proprietary software. So
it's I mean, in an organization, like to have these type of employees, I mean, these are the ones that really push the entire organization forward, like and inspires the rest of the organization to do well as well. I mean, it must be incredibly valuable to have a voice like that in the company.
Obviously, and these guys, we you want to hold on to them, and you want them to feel that they are, how important they are. So obviously we do everything we can to keep them, and this specific person has been with us for, I think it's 3 or 3.5 years now, and he's only getting better and better. So.
Awesome. So what about you, Mikael? I mean, you're the CEO and the owner of the company, the founder. You've been there for 12 years, building this organization from scratch. And every time I meet you in person, Mikael, something I haven't mentioned this to you, but I can see like the spark in your eye. No, I can see how happy you are, like, and how passionate you are for this organization. And I'm sure that you hear this internally all the time. But like, what is the like to constantly walk around with the pressure of being the CEO and the owner of an organization that has to perform every month, because this is depending on who you will become as a successful person in a day. Like how is it on a day-to-day to be the CEO of the company?
Well, I think owner, first of all, I'm very privileged to be one of the co-owners, and I'm very happy that we own something together. I mean, that gives that extra dimension that we're doing something together. And I think also, I felt quite alone together with Pedram, who has been with me, our operations manager, since day one. And that was difficult when we're 5 or 10 people, because everything was down to us. It felt like, at least, I'm not going to say we've had many amazing people coming, and many are staying still today. But now I feel it's a pressure. But on the other hand, what has happened is that if I'm not in the office, they're joking now, my top management, because they say it's so good when you're not here, because then we can focus on work and you're not walking around talking all your new things and ideas. So like when we've done some of the records we've done, I have been abroad, or I've been in meetings, and So I feel it's amazing to say, and this is something that many people say, that you should be happy when you're not needed every day. And I think that's something that many people might say, but I truly feel that I'm happy when the organization is managing, and there's my managers, they're so much better than me in everything. I mean, I used to do almost all the things that they are doing today, but the level that they've taken it to, if it's a reactivation cloud with our magnificent CTO Daniel Scambri, who is absolutely amazing person. If it's Daniel Larsson who's running the sales together with Harid, this those guys they're amazing. They're simply amazing. We have Jules on marketing. He's an amazing person as well. Andy with the business to business team, and then you have the kitchen with Diane and Elisa. It's an absolute bliss to be able to work with people like this. And I think when people around you grow, then it's easy being a leader. But then obviously at the end of the day, if things aren't going as fast as they should, and whatever it might be, it's down to me. It's always my failure. And that's what it is.
Of course.
The pressure has gone down, I must say, because I have so many amazing people to rely on.
And I mean, that's the key, right? But especially, especially as not only the CEO but also the owner of the company. I think that's where a lot of people struggle, is to delegate tasks, because they want to own and they want to have insight in every little decision and so forth. But you feel like you've gotten to the point where you don't need to do that anymore. Like you have settled with your team and you can trust them, and you don't need to be involved in everything that's happening within the organization.
Yeah,
Would you say that's your leadership style?
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I am the one first to recognize that delegating is not the key to everything. Because if you delegate to a person that's not ready to own the task, then it's a complete disaster way of leading things. But I think we have people in our organization who are so skilled that delegating is the right way. It's just I can just leave it to. If it's a tech thing, I would be, I'm completely wrong to sit and try to come up with the solution. I just said, I'd like to, I just tell him, this is the function I'm after. This is what I want to do. Can you make this happen? And then say, yeah, sure. And then I get something a day later, a prototype or whatever. So that is amazing, actually.
It's like what Todd Hasshalter said, the chief product officer of Revolution Gaming. He said that not all opinions are equal. He said like if you're in a meeting and you're trying to solve a math problem, and Albert Einstein is in the room, there's no point in discussion what is the best solution. Just give it to Albert; he'll sort it.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Don't waste time on that. So we can focus on where we actually feel that it's difficult, and it's a kind of an area where no one is a complete expert, and then you can actually have that discussion and try to find out where you need to go.
Yeah. So as the CEO, then Mikael, what's the biggest failure you ever had as the owner of the company?
My biggest failure. That's a good question.
Because you're in a good position now, but there's never a straight way there.
Yeah. No, but I think my biggest failure, I'm trying to look at it from an honest perspective, not giving out my biggest failure. I mean, what is that I'm too ambitious? No. My biggest failure was that I didn't take in really good senior management earlier. I was too conscious of the cost of growing this, and and also I didn't push marketing fast enough. The product was already so good 5 years ago that we could have started with educating and sharing to the markets what's going on and how we're doing this, and we should have built our proprietary software earlier, at least a couple of years earlier, because we were using a normal dialer, good dialer, but we couldn't. It took us 2 months to apply changes because it was not our code. Yeah, so we needed to change that, and that took too long time, and I should have done that much faster, honestly. So I think that is also a failure to do something too late. It might not be seen as a failure, but
it's like
not
the absence of action. Yeah.
Exactly, not doing something is also a decision. So, but now instead I have to make sure that we do it twice as fast as it would normally be done. So I have to
exactly speed it up even more.
Exactly.
What do you think? Like now, let's take a step back to March now in this year, and all the world just were turned upside down in the blink of an eye. Obviously, like on the reaction side of things, like how was COVID affected your efforts to reactivate players? Did you completely change the way you approach your reactivation to reflect this, or was there business as usual kind of thing? I mean, the sports side obviously was affected.
Yeah, the sports side collapsed, in a way. And I think I wouldn't say two things based on this. And obviously, we were very worried in March because we didn't know where sports is going to go, and we didn't know how we're going to manage to perform without sports, because sports is such. I mean, I've Scotty H. Hatterberg from Moneyball here behind me, and it's we have sports murals in the office, because sports is what carries us every day. It gives us that extra joy, and it gives us unforgettable moments that you can talk to customers about, and everyone can relate to. So of course, when we felt that, okay, we're not going to have the sport, we were worried. But at the end of the day, and this is what's so funny and amazing, our conversion rate dropped. So the relationship with how many conversations we did toward versus how many people that came back to the site after our call dropped, obviously, because there was nothing to promote. But it only dropped by 5 to 6%. So if we had 25% that would actually come back after a call and come back to the site, it now dropped down to 19. And this is in a time when there's like nothing to promote, because there's no sports events going on, and it's difficult to casino to a sportsbook player that there is now only casino. I mean, we never went for the hardcore, but now there's no sports, play casino. We ask, are you interested in casino? Because then we have something for you there as well. And then you can say, but if you have to roll this slot before Friday, because then it's not going to exist on Saturday. But that is the time that's a natural time limitation you have on sports, that this game is tomorrow. So obviously, if you don't bet on it before tomorrow, you can't bet on that game. So it's kind of obvious, and it gives you that opportunity to just mention that game to the customer. Then it's up to him to decide, or her, if he wants to play on that game. And normally, if it's a big game, there's a high probability he will or she will play on it, obviously. So we lost that. And still, we got so many people to come back to the site with a call that had no bonuses. For example, in UK and Sweden, there's generally no follow-up bonuses because of regulation. And UK, there was a big no-no to kind of push during Corona. And generally, we played that down because of the, you don't want to push people during Corona. You don't want to push them at all. But when it comes to Corona, you have to be even more careful, because everyone is in a tight spot in a way. So, and we saw that it worked without that time limit, without the sports, and that was amazing to manage that and to see that it's actually not the bonus and it's not the sports. And everyone's always said, but how would you manage to get people back to the site if there's nothing to promote, and if there's no bonuses? Well, obviously now we've shown that it actually worked. It was the personal, the chat, the discussion, the dialogue is actually worth a lot. And I think something else that happened during this period was that we went online with all our staff. So during a period there in, I think it was March and April, we had all our sales staff, which 70 people were online. And we were also worried that how is it going to be? It's like it's a lot of energy. We have a big media wall out here in the office. We have music. We have a nice environment where people meet and they get energy from each other. So we were very worried that, okay, what happens when that energy drops a bit and you don't get that help from the other guys to keep that good energy level? But what happened basically was that a little bit mature people, a little bit older people, they managed even to some extent better because they can focus more and there was less noise around, so to say, if you will. And the younger guys that maybe didn't have the same focus as the older ones, they lost a bit because they need more of help and guidance from the more senior guys. So we saw a clear division that more mature agents that have been with us for a longer time, they manage this even to some extent better than when they were in the office. And some others which has been with us shorter term, they struggled because they didn't have the hands-on management. So it was very nervous times because no one knew where it was going in March, obviously, and in April either. But at the end of the day, I think we really managed well, and I'm very proud of what the team did back then.
Yeah, I have the feeling like on the working remotely part of the issue is my team, for example, works primarily from home, and we have noticed that we also work a lot better. I mean, the staff is happier. We have a lot more freedom, to enjoy life outside of work, because let's say you get your 8 or 9 hours in per day, but you don't have to have the commute. So you have a lot more time to live your life, which increases happiness, which then increases performance, I think. So we have continued to with a pretty lax policy that our staff can work from home, they can work from the office if they like. Do you think you will ever implement working remotely type policy? Do you think you will ever go remote?
I think what we did, we offer this option actually to everyone, that they can they can apply for working remote, and if then they have the quality to back it up and all that, then it's no problem. Obviously now I'm talking about the agents actually talking to customers, so to players all the time. For example, our business to business team, marketing team, and all those, they to a large extent right now are working remote already. So that is a different thing. But when it comes to these guys that are every day talking to customers, players, that is more difficult. It is more difficult to work from home. So you got to really, as I said, if you're senior and if you're if you know what you're doing from A to Z, and you're doing it for many years, then it's no problem.
Yeah, because you're in a unique position in the sense that you can measure the performance black and white. I mean, you see how many calls are done, how many players have been reactivated, and you can see the outputs very, very clearly, right? So it's quite easy for you to say, like on an individual basis, that like, this person can work from home, and perhaps this person, you need this environment,
and I think that's a great thing to point out, Pierre, because it can measure everything and anything, and the operators that working with us can measure every single thing. They can control everything from A to Z. They can listen to every call. They have full and complete control because we have such an amazing system. And so it's made it easy for us to control performance and to listen to everything and to coach and to have structure and secure data security. We have everything under complete control, and the operator as well has everything under complete control when it comes to their customers and what is communicated to their players, and that makes it really possible. Then it's just about management. If you some people, for example, they love to be in the office, they love to be in this environment, they don't want to work remotely, but when it comes to the systems, you're exactly right. We can see everything, and it's an amazing blessing, obviously, to have that unique position that everything can be measured, everything can be controlled. It gives you a good feeling when you don't see people in the office because you can see it on the screen what's going on. So you're completely right.
But what about so another aspect of the COVID outbreak, like you mentioned earlier in the previous question, is like the player protection. And obviously you are in the forefront of this question because you are obviously trying to reactivate players again and trying to get them to become active gamblers again, so to say. And what responsibility do you feel to activate the players in an ethical way? Is that possible?
I mean, it has to be sustainable. And I think that was from day one, that if it's not sustainable, we might as well just skip it. So if you push someone too hard with a bonus or something, then it's not sustainable, because you're getting an action which will have that customer do something that it's not going to work long term. So it's always been like, and especially now with COVID, we even changed our script, for example, in the UK, to not cross-sell from sports to casino. And this is a very, very small detail, right? Because we talk about sport cross-selling. You saw it online that, but now you can push the casino. And we're like, no, that's not the right way to do it. So we didn't push from sports to casino unless the customer actually asked for it. So there was no like, okay, the goal now is to push all the sports guys to casino, because it was not right. If they asked, listen, I used to play sports, whatever, and then, would you have a casino bonus or I'd like to play some casino as well, then sure. And also a question is, okay, did you ever play or didn't you like it or whatever, but you don't push it unless there's a sign that the person actually might want to play. Casino.
Fair enough. And you mentioned as well, like when the sports kind of disappeared, that this conversation is about sports. Like, I would imagine that is like a central part in how you reactivate play. Like I would imagine that that is how it goes down. That there is a conversation oftentimes happening between the agent and the player about sports, like what's the current, what first of all, what sport today are they interested in, and trying to kind of a bit of a connection over that, and then to push the upcoming games that are support. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how important is it for the agent to create this little connection between the player? Like, how do they usually form that connection? Well, is it, like you say, is it sports what they connect over? Is there other things as well, or again, it links back to the psychology?
A good person that can do this for a long time is a person who likes to talk to people and likes to understand and likes to ask questions and likes to understand and communicate. And at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to. It's not about getting someone to do what you want. It's about having good conversation. And obviously, at the end of the day, then you know how it is with sales. If you have trust, then people will want to. They like to buy from you if they like you. That's what is and then people like to buy from someone they trust. So at the end of the day, it is about creating trust so they feel that the brand that we're calling from listens to them and can relate to them. And one way of doing this is to talk about sport, and preferably if you're a Liverpool fan and you get a Liverpool guy in the call, obviously then you're home already. But the thing is that
United fan, then like you don't say that.
But then but then you create something different. Then you said, I respect you, but your team is shit compared to mine. And then you have a beautiful, conversation around that. So, but if you're dishonest and you try to play that you're a Liverpool fan just because it's a Liverpool fan, then you create nothing. So at the end of the day, sport is beautiful, and it creates those wonderful, wonderful conversation. I had one guy specifically 100 years ago that I always liked to listen to, because he was so knowledgeable that no matter where this person was from, no matter where, he knew the name of that arena in that city. And he could just talk about, I remember when they won this and this and this. And it was a Swedish guy, and he knew the name of the arenas of a city or a small city with 3,000 inhabitants. He was incredible, and he could talk about Sharapova, a game she had 99 or whatever. He just would move seamlessly over the different sports that the customer was interested in. And that was amazing, because then he could always relate. And he wasn't sitting on Google, okay, now I'm going to look this up, he said this from Liverpool, whatever. He was really amazing that way. But at the end of the day, this can also happen if it's not sports. I had the guy, for example, I talked to yesterday. He talked about. He called the guy in the army, and apparently, in Finland, it's a thing that if you're in the army, you eat a lot of donuts.
Okay.
As with the American police, it's a kind of joke that they eat donuts all the time. So I called this guy up, and I think we lost our camera.
Yeah, but it's okay. I can still hear you, so that's fine.
Yeah. So anyway, so he called this guy up, and he was like, "So you're in the army?" And he could hear that, I'm in the army. So he's serious, yeah. And someone's calling from a gaming from an online gaming operator, and it's like, yeah, I'm in the army. Okay, but I'll keep going. Yeah. So he's in the army, and he's like, all right, so you're eating a donut, yeah. Actually, I'm eating a donut right now, and it's my second donut. And then they started talking about this donut in the army thing. It was completely from the perspective of sports, there was nothing going on. It was just how they kind of connected over this donut thing. And at the end of the day, he started, on this site, we have an offer, right? And it's like, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to mention, the offer or anything. If there's any offer, I don't care. I'm gonna go in there anyway because I like you and you brighten my day up a bit. So. And these things do happen. I mean, we had another person that spoke to quite a famous singer in this country, and he started. And I don't know if he has a great voice, honestly, singing voice, but he started singing his songs. And this call ended with them singing together. And it's like, okay, there's no sport in that. But it's just one of those things that happen. Then obviously many calls are also like, you have, if you want to try us back again, a lot of has happened on the site. And, okay, I'll check it out, And some people are too busy. Some people are in the grocery store, obviously. There's many different, stories out there, but at the end of the day, why it's successful and why it creates something is because there is a two-way communication. And I can share with you one thing that happened to me back in 2006. I mean, I've only gotten one call from the online gaming industry, and I was a poker player back then, a quite bad one, but still. I got it from Party Poker, a guy from India. I mean, the call wasn't spectacular at all, but it was a call, right? He called me. He took the time out of his schedule or whatever. I was probably 1 out of 50 that day or whatever, but still, he called me up. Hello, Mikael. Welcome to Party Poker. And still to this day, I remember that, and I had that back in those days. I don't know if you were playing poker.
I was. Yeah, I remember back in the day.
Yeah, you had like 5 or 7 or 8 accounts, right? And they were all good in a way. Some were bigger, some were smaller, but only one called me, and that's the one I kind of remember.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that. I mean, there is this old school perception of these like sleazy salespeople that are like perfected their pitch, and they they manipulate you into doing something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like old school way of selling. It's like you make the sell, and then you move on, and you never see that customer again, kind of thing. But I love the fact that sales, like the modern way of selling, is a very genuine approach. Like, if you are a good person and you are a salesperson, just be yourself, because
exactly.
Creating that connection between you and the customer, if you are genuine about it and if you are a genuine person, I mean, that is how you build a relationship, not only to close the sale at that very moment, but you create this long-term kind of connection to the brand and loyalty to the brand. And I love that these days that you don't have that much of this like sleazy sales anymore, towards this genuine connection building between the salesperson and the customer.
Yeah, and just on that, what's really important is that you're honest in a conversation. If you call someone and you're coy about why you're calling, hey, we're calling from this brand, how is it, and then the customer becomes like, what does this person want? Rather be direct. Listen, you haven't been here in a while. We want you back. yes, we want you back. That's why we're calling you. We want you back. Can I ask you why you left us? Just be honest about it. And that, if you try to wiggle your way around, and it's not good. So it's what you say. It's honesty. And this Rhino guys, you should come back now. That is just not how it's done.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's this like bad salespeople would talk down on their competitors, for example. They would say, this site you're playing on is not good. You shouldn't be there. Like, we are better or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's I think regardless of how like crappy your competition is, like again, like a good salesperson should never focus on that, right? Like, you should always focus on your own product. And if you are genuine about it, if you have a genuine good product, if you're a genuine good salesperson with actual good message and intention, then that is enough. Like, you don't need to oversell it, right? Like,
exactly. No, definitely. And if you need to twist some things and words, and then it's not going to be sustainable anyway. So it's not going to work out long term. So it doesn't. And if it doesn't work out long term, there's no point really.
True.
It's just
Yeah, it's been a super interesting conversation today. We are running out of time, like always. It's impossible to keep this timelines in this podcast, because it always tends to be like you come into some really interesting discussion, and then that leads to something else, and then that leads to something else, and it's sucks to really have to like cut it short with these things, because sometimes it's nice to just go on for as long as you can, But I wanted to finish this off today. By asking you, Mikael, how does a day in your life look like?
Oh my goodness. Well, it's about first of all, obviously, getting the kids to school, that's the biggest challenge, to getting a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 7-year-old to listen to you. And then, sorry?
That's management on a different level.
Yeah, that's a completely different level. And then for me, when I come to the office, I guess it's a challenge for me to even sit down. I honestly don't have my own room. Right now, I'm sitting in my COO's room because I realized I never sit down anyway. So for me, it's about running around, and then I had something and whatever, and then at the end of the day, when I come home, obviously then dinner and everything, and feeding the kids and bedding them, and then at the end of the day, if I don't have anything else planned, then I have to catch up with emails and things after they're in bed, basically. So it's maybe it doesn't sound so glamorous, but it is what it is, and I really enjoy it, and it's from morning to evening. There's something all the time, basically.
Yeah. No, like I said, to finish this today, I can see that, Mikael, and the energy that you have in general is always a positive vibe. Like, you always make sure to speak well about your staff when I see you, and he's doing such a great job. I'm so happy to be working with this person, and hearing that you're out there amongst your staff all the time. I mean, this is surely gonna infect them with positivity as well, and that's obviously part of why you guys are successful. So that's why I was curious to have you on today, to hear a little bit more on your philosophy, hear a little bit more what your thoughts are and leadership and these type of things. So thank you for coming on today. Do you want to say the last words today?
No, I just want to thank you for this opportunity, and I hope we can be back soon, and I'd like to update on what's going on, and about what customers say and all that. I think it's what we can actually contribute to the industry, and that's what I want to do now that we have all these things in place. I'd like to contribute more and to tell the industry what we see when we're working every day with doing thousands of calls and talking to players every day. So that's what I want to do now onwards, be more of a, inform more and give back to the industry more insights, and I'm very excited about that. So that's what we're gonna keep on doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it soon again, Mikael. Have a beautiful day, okay? And thank you also to the sponsors, Pragmatic Solutions. Thank you to everyone tuning in today. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you here, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.